Hi, everybody, and welcome to Weekend Gameplan with Marcus Hersh. I'm Dan Illman alongside Daily Racing Form handicapper and analyst Marcus Hersh. Marcus has 3 weekend game plan spot plays for you, all on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Of course, it's the sensational Florida Derby extravaganza. Let's start things off, Marcus, with the Sanibel Island Stakes. It is a full field of 3-year-old fillies going a mile on the turf. As we take a look at this field, the number 5 Cheermeister is your morning line favorite, and Cheermeister has been on quite a roll recently, although I wonder if you can pretty much her improvement is directly correlated to the fact that she gets easy leads.
Well, yeah, I mean, to her credit, she's been able to set. Well, we didn't have fractions for the Swedish chant, but she can go pretty fast and sustain her pace. And I'll give her credit for that. And maybe she'll get loose here. Maybe she won't. I think there's some other pace in the race, and I think even if she is on a clear lead, she's had a busy winter, been going steadily since October, and was losing ground at the end of the Here Comes the Bride. This race may be even deeper than that, and I think that she was easy for me to take on in any case.
Let's talk about the 7 Walk in Marrakesh. This is your top pick in the race. She showed really good form last year in Europe. She came over here with some nice performances, and her most recent race at Tampa Bay Downs, her seasonal debut, was rock solid. We'll take a look at it right now.
Well, yeah, she's a nice filly. I think she's easily the best horse in this race. I know that Correas was excited about running her in the Breeders' Cup, and she had to be scratched the week of the Juvenile Fillies Turf. That's the race toward which she was aimed. She's a nose away from being a Grade 1 winner last year at the Tolma. And then the Florida Oaks, yeah, that horse Outburst that won that race went to the front. That's a nice filly too. I liked her in that race. She ended up getting bet so much that it was hard for me to get that excited, but she was a pick of mine. And this horse, I thought, ran every bit as well. She, got stuck down in the inside, had to take back a little bit off the pace, then switched out and was really getting to the winner at the end in a race that she easily could have needed. I think she's going to benefit from that start. And I don't see her being 6-1. I looked at some selections and she's not widely selected, but I still think she's going to be more like 7-2 in the race, which I would happily take because she's a solid play for me here, Dan.
And I agree with you. I think there should be at least some pace to push Cheermeister early, and Walk in Marrakesh has shown a lot of ability. She just needs the right trip to come running. Maybe we'll get 4-1 on her. It is a big field, and Cheermeister will take some money. Let's move to the Sand Springs Stakes for our second of 3 weekend game plan selections. And the big favorite in this race is likely to be the returning number 5 Newspaper of Record, who just had a tremendous 2-year-old filly campaign for Chad Brown. Expectations were high for her last year, and for the most part, she underperformed, although she was in against the top of her class. We're catching her off a little bit of a layoff. I think that makes her vulnerable.
That and the fact she might not ever be good again. I just think until she shows me otherwise, she was an extremely advanced 2-year-old who was awesome for that age that they just caught up to her last year. Canvier Park and her stablemate ended up being the better 3-year-old filly, easily. So did the time off help her? Did she grow up? I don't see it. Brown, I've noticed, he's able to perk up at any moment, but his barn's been in a little bit of a lull. Sources in New Orleans last week for the Muniz Memorial didn't run especially well, especially in Stilled Regard. I'm not going to hold that against the entire barn, but I just don't think that they're firing on all cylinders right now. And obviously there's a lot of disruption in the whole racing industry and the way people are plotting, planning, training, and so forth. But when I saw Zofel or Zofele, however you say it, in this race, my eyes perked up because I've been waiting for her.
Zofeli really started off her season at the fairgrounds in fine form, and she ran a big race last time out just to miss to a hot horse who came back and won a stakes race again with an 88 Beyer speed figure. Let's watch Zofeli's last race at Keeneland. This was earlier in her North American stint, and she just has a powerful stretch kick, and there should be pace for her to run out on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think she needs to be quite as far behind either. That Keeneland race is her first start in the States. She obviously took to North American racing, be it flat, turning tracks, Lasix, combination of everything. The training is different. But so just wanted to focus on her last race. She had post 12. She was way outside. That was a huge, huge golden rail turf day at Fairgrounds. The winner, she's on the warpath, stayed on the fence the entire time till she came out and ran down the horse in front of her uh, to get the victory. And then she validated her form coming back to win another stakes race at a similar class level last weekend. This horse just was, I mean, had a wide draw, made a huge wide move on the turn. She ran like I went and talked to the trainer the next morning, like, dude, your horse just ran a great race, and he kind of got it. He also was excited about backing her up to a mile. He thought maybe she like a mile and 16. She just flattened out a little bit. In addition to being against the bias, I just want her to get stuck along the fence. I know she's going to need some luck to get through, but Rosario is capable of finding the holes that he needs if he has the horse. And this horse in her previous races has taken her jockey where the jockey needed to go. She's got a lot of, she's got some acceleration, some mid-race moves, overcame a lot of trouble to win two back. If she is the same horse in Florida that she was in New Orleans, I think that she's got a great chance.
Let's head on to the main event at Gulfstream on Saturday. It's the Grade 1 $750,000 Curlin, Florida Derby. The 7 Tis the Law is going to be your prohibitive favorite, 3 for 3 on fast going. The last time Tis the Law faced Ete Indien, he defeated him on the square in the Holy Bull. What makes you think it's going to be different on Saturday?
Well, a couple things. Even though both horses, and I do like Ete in the end here, I like him quite a bit actually. I don't know exactly what price. 4-1 on the line would be the upper range of what I see as possible, but that would be fine. Anyway, I just think, Dan, that this horse was still a work in progress as far as being a dirt route horse when they met in the Holy Bull. And you could say the same thing, I suppose, about Tis the Law. But I just felt that Tis the Law was more advanced in some ways when they met in the Holy Bull. Yeah, he was coming off a layoff, but he wasn't off that long. He'd shipped already, done a sprint, a mile, a two-turn race in the slop. He got, quite a bit of experience. Whereas this horse, I feel, was just starting to find himself in dirt races. He had that mile, coming back off winter break. Then it was right into the Holy Bull. Tis the Law jumped on him after he set a strong pace. He tried to battle back. He just got, a little weary at the end. I just am really thinking this horse is farther along. I think it's actually, I know we're in an age of wait, sit back, train, run off a 6-week break. But I like that this horse ran in the Fountain of Youth. I think that might give him an edge on Tis the Law, who sat it out. And I know it was a ways back, but I'm not forgetting that this horse, had a little foot problem too. He worked on February 10th, 9 days after the Holy Bull, then didn't work again until March 2nd. Now, is that the end of the world? No. His work on March 15th against Realm, a tough older horse, he completely dominated that horse. Very impressive drill, I thought. But I wondered if maybe, I don't know, maybe that was too hard on him because I just didn't like the look of his last work, which was a solo work, nearly as much. Maybe he doesn't work as well, by himself. He needs company to really shine. I just didn't love what I saw from him in that race. I think that this is one of those situations where he's just going to be a presumed winner, because he had the reputation, got a little shine came off in the KJC, and then okay, so he really is this spectacular horse, in the Holy Bull. He showed who he really is. I'm not willing to buy that yet because the Holy Bull to me was his step above anything else he'd shown in his career. And I think he's going to run competitively, but I just don't think that he's the right price for me at all in this race.
Fair point. We saw Ete Indian just dominate the field last time out in the Fountain of Youth from an outside post position with a hustling ride. You have to think, Marcus, that Florent Geroux, he's got similar tactics on his mind. Do you see anyone from the inside that's going to try to prevent him from getting the early lead?
Well, I mean, my first Grammy. I mean, sometimes you get these sources. You see this, Dan, where chivalry. That's another one. I mean, I don't like to use the word, okay, so I'm not going to use it. But horses that have speed that can't class up and they can't carry their speed, in a race like this where they're being rated somewhat too. I don't really care if those two horses go flying out of the gate and set a fast pace because I'm comfortable that this horse, if he's in the clear, is going to be, perfectly content sitting third in the outside. I'm guessing that Independence Hall, in an effort to get the mile and an eighth, which I don't think he will get, I think that he's going to be. I think they're going to try to rate him a little bit because I just don't think that they believe they could go a mile and an eighth out in front. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can't rate the horse. But what I'm seeing from him, just watching a couple of his works, and I still think he's got a lot of talent. He still doesn't seem to have his head together. I know he's made plenty of mistakes or just hasn't been totally professional. I don't know. I just think that, to me, when I looked at it, there were limited win contenders in this race. I don't think there are too many horses that I want to get involved in. And from watching Ete Indian's work since his last race, I feel like he's coming into this race at least as good, if not better, than the Fountain of Youth.
3 Saturday game plan spot plays from Marcus at Gulfstream. To reiterate, the Sanibel Island Stakes, Marcus is going with the number 7, Walk in Marrakesh, 6-1 on the morning line. In the Sand Spring Stakes, it's the 2, Zaffelli, 9-2 on the morning line. And in the Curlin Florida Derby, it's the 12, Ete Indian, 4-1 on the morning line. Best of luck with your wagers.